Okay, in this video we're just going to have a look at how free trade can help boost international competitiveness in the long term and help to achieve the goal of low inflation or price stability. So just before we go on to that, just a sort of a common question, explain why the removal of tariffs might help to improve efficiency, make reference to allocative and technical efficiency. So the key things we want to talk about is that a removal of tariff means Australian companies are forced to compete with cheaper foreign imports. This means they have to become more efficient in order to lower their production costs, or they're likely to go out of business. It's the key thing. Keep your prices down or you're just going to go out of business. This can lead to increased productivity, outputs per unit of input, and increase in the technical efficiency of firms. Lower tariffs also encourage businesses to focus on allocating resources to areas of comparative advantage, where they have lower opportunity costs. If we specialise in areas of comparative advantage, provide an example, we are able to produce more efficiently and produce a greater volume of goods and services. By then trading, we can increase our access to cheap goods and services. So allocative efficiency, remember, is just about maximising our living standards. So we get access to cheaper goods and services. This allows to increase the living standards and therefore makes society more allocatively efficient. So technical efficiency, talk about increased productivity, talk about that incentive to become more technologically advanced, more efficient, more productive. Allocative efficiency, talk about shifting resources to areas of comparative advantage. When you are talking about trade liberalisation and our international competitiveness, you want to talk about how it increases competition for local businesses, which encourages them to either lower their prices or improve their quality. That's what international competitiveness is all about. Increased specialisation in areas of comparative advantage helps to minimise opportunity costs and sell at lower prices. Another reason why it helps to boost international competitiveness is we can take advantage of economies of scale. So firms produce in a greater volumes, that allows them to have access to larger markets, which allows them to keep their production costs down and sell at more competitive prices. So another key thing is that it helps to promote economies of scale, which again keeps our prices down. Other reasons that boost internationally competitive, firms are more likely to restructure to boost efficiency so that they can cut production costs and stay competitive. Firms are more likely to employ the latest technology in order to keep up to date and become more competitive. Firms are more likely to become creative and offer better services because they need to keep up with their competitors overseas. It is important to recognise that even though we have moved towards free trade, Australia still ranks fairly poorly in terms of things like interest rates or the cost of borrowing, working days lost through industrial action, energy prices and labour productivity. All right, we also need to talk about how trade liberalisation can impact the goal of domestic economic stability. So how is trade liberalisation likely to then impact low inflation, strong and sustainable growth and full employment based on its impact on international competitiveness and efficiency? So first of all, with low inflation, make sure you're defining the goal really clearly, that we want average prices to grow by 2 to 3% in terms of CPI per year on average over the business cycle. Trade liberalisation is great for keeping cost push inflation down. So it encourages resources to be moved to their most efficient use and moved out of inefficient areas with high costs. This helps to boost allocative efficiency and slow inflation. So by specialising, we become cheaper because we're more productive in those areas. Increasing productivity helps to reduce the average cost of production and therefore they can lower their prices. Trade liberalisation also allows companies access to larger markets so they can take advantage of economies of scale. Trade liberalisation gives access to cheaper inputs. That's a really, I suppose, more straightforward one that you want to focus on as well. Imports are going to be cheaper if they don't have tariffs on them. So if they're cheaper, then that helps to reduce firms' costs of production. Another reason, so we're specialising, which lowers prices. We've got access to economies of scale, which lowers prices. We have cheaper input costs, which lower prices. And firms are more likely to restructure to become more efficient or more productive so that they can sell more products, which again helps to lower inflation. All of this will lead to lower prices, reduce inflationary pressures, and make it easier for us to achieve 2 to 3% CPI over the business cycle. You've got increased efficiency because of specialisation. You have increased competition, so firms are more likely to be competitive. You have access to larger markets, and you have cheaper input costs as well as restructuring, all leading to low inflation. There's plenty of things you can talk about there. In terms of strong and sustainable growth, It's the fastest rate of growth in real GDP, generally around 3%, which also helps us to achieve other economic goals without jeopardising the environment. Trade liberalisation helps to improve stronger sustainable growth by increasing specialisation. So we specialise in areas that we're good at or more efficient. That allows us to maximise output with fewer inputs, helping to boost our PPF. Businesses are more likely to restructure so they can compete, which helps to boost our productive capacity because they invest in new technology and infrastructure. Trade also allows firms access to the best equipment, best materials and best technology so they can lower costs as well, which also helps to boost our GDP because we can become more productive. So again, it's basically exactly the same as the inflation. We specialise, which increases productivity. Businesses restructure to help boost productivity. It grows the size of our export market. This is a really key thing here. It helps to boost the size of our export market because we can sell to businesses overseas without any tariffs on our products. Lower prices due to increased competition also help to stimulate investment and consumption because people buy more when prices are low, and it boosts our international competitiveness. That's a really key thing to talk about with strong and sustainable growth. In the long term, our international competitiveness should improve because we've been able to keep prices down, and therefore we will export more. Higher growth rates on average have helped to boost incomes by $3,900, which should help to boost consumption as well. So they're the key things you want to talk about. To summarise, increased specialisation boosts productivity, firms reorganise or restructure to maximise productivity, we get access to cheaper equipment and technology, which boosts our productive capacity, and then finally we get access to increased export markets, and the lower prices help to boost our international competitiveness. All of this can lead to increased growth. It is worth noting though, in the short term, trade liberalisation can hurt growth because some firms that can't compete may be forced to close down, which can increase unemployment in the short term.